And it very much tells a story of my family, your family, of all of our families, not just Korean families, so many families around the world, that it really felt important.
Thank you for accepting our interview request. Can you please say hi to our viewers and readers of KOSA's Koreanet?
Hello, 안녕하세요.
Yeah. So let's dive in. First, congratulations on a rave global review for Pachinko. Why did you select Lee Min Jin's novel to make it into a series?
The book is just extraordinary, and the opportunity to tell a story like this, it really comes once in a lifetime. I'd never seen a show like this, and I wanted to bring it to life because I think it's a very important, beautiful story. And it very much tells a story of my family, your family, of all of our families, not just Korean families, so many families around the world, that it really felt important.
Okay. Pachinko delicately uses Korean history as its backdrop and uses Korean as its main language. Did you have difficulties producing Korean-specific content in Korean? If so, how were such obstacles overcome?
It was difficult. I think there are a lot of challenges. I mean, just on a script level, we have 3 languages, and even within the languages, we have dialects. So that translation process took more than a year. And then working with the actors, some actors knew English, some actors didn't know English. It's actually really funny. I wish we had a documentary crew on set, because there were more translators on set than sometimes more actors. And so, you're speaking and the translator is speaking, and you look at the translators like, how come the actor is looking at me with like, looking at me, he's mad. Why is he mad at me? Did you translate? Okay. We found our rhythm, and we became a very close family, but it was challenging at first.
I understand, yes. The drama displays essential elements of Korean culture, such as kimchi and hanbok. What challenges did you face, and how did you incorporate Korean tradition into the series and introduce them to the world in an easily understandable manner?
We wanted the show to feel as real as possible. When we say is, when you look at this show, we want the audience to feel as if they're going into the screen. We don't want it to feel like this is a long time ago that you're reading a history book. How do you make something like this feel really immediate and visceral? And so our answer was, everything has to feel like you can touch it. The hanboks, the food on the table. When you look at the food, I wanted people to smell it, almost as if you can smell what it feels that food is. And just the sounds. I think it was very important that the show look and feel rich. To give, I think most importantly, to give Korean people dignity.
I understand, yes. Solomon's family is originally from Korea, but he grew up in Japan and lives in the US. Yet, he introduces himself as Korean to his American bosses. In your opinion, what is the definition of a Korean? You were born in Busan but immigrated to the US when you were a year old. How do you view your Korean ethnicity?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's complicated, right? So when you're in America and growing up in a very white neighborhood, I'm not one of them. But then when I go to Korea, I'm not one of them. My experiences, which mimics so many immigrants' experiences, is I'm split in half always. And that splitting has made me stronger at times, but it's sometimes made me very much crave community, right? And I think what we're finding is this really strong generation of Korean Americans are learning how to express that experience. But when in making the show Pachinko, I feel more Korean than ever. And that was something I was very proud. I was very proud of.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and as both executive producer and script writer for the series, you seem to have made changes from the novel. What messages did you want to focus on that is different from the novel?
But for me, when I was thinking about how to make this TV show, I really wanted to make it feel like a conversation between all the different generations. So much of my struggle is understanding what my parents went through, and then thinking about my harmony, what she must have gone through. In making this show, I feel like I became closer with my family. And that was very important because I am Solomon very much. And that's the story I had to tell.
For the, with the success of Korean content such as Squid Game, Parasite, and Pachinko, Hollywood has caught Hallyu fever. How does Hollywood view Korean content, and how do you assess Hallyu's future?
It, again, I use the word proud because I'm so proud. Korean culture has been thousands of years. Squid Game is not made for America. And it's now finally the rest of the world is realizing just how amazing Korea's culture is. And I hope it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yes, I understand. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Personally, it was a great honor. And as a fan of Pachinko, I'll be very expected to see your next series and your next move. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.